Darkness surrounded me like a mother who was trying to hold her troubled daughter. It didn't matter how many times I blinked and screamed. It was quite evident that the more that I blinked, the darker it got, and the more that I screamed, the louder everything became around me. Maybe I wasn't actually screaming. This thought passed through my mind several times, and eventually I began to assume that it must have been a dream. You know, when you're in a dream and you're screaming as loud as you can, but you barely hear it. That's how I felt, but it could also mean I'm slipping. And so I was. I hit something hard, either a really tall person or the floor, because I began to lose track of time. It felt like everything was falling away at my fingertips, like gravity didn't exist. That also could be because of the fact that I was probably being carried at the moment. I didn't know who it was, but I remembered it was a tall figure, most likely a male by the looks of it, and they were wearing a hood over their head. I remember the gloves, black leather gloves, a weird smell to them, like metal, blood. I am a liar. That's really all I am, I guess. I lie about everything. I lie about being sick. I lie about hanging out with friends because really, I'm a lonely, demented person. Maybe that's why someone decided to get rid of me. Maybe that's why, even though I'm not a Christian, someone had decided to punish me for my sins. Maybe I'm just better off dead. That sounds rather morbid, I know, but at this point it's one of the only remaining thoughts even going through my head. It's the only thing I can think of anymore. It's pounding at the inside of my skull, reminding me that death is my best friend. Darkness is still surrounding me, though not as suffocating as the first time. It is silent as my eyelids flutter open and the pitch blackness takes me by a bit of surprise. The first thought that registered through my head was that I had either gone blind, I was in limbo, or I was dead. Something along those lines. But as I heard the dull scraping of a chair being moved from nearby, my heart skipped a beat. Not only was I alive, I thought, but someone else was in the room, watching me. I could barely sit up as a wave of nausea hit me. I brought my hand to my forehead and let out something close to a groan. There was silence from the other side of the room. I breathed. I felt so weary. I began to not even care about the stranger that was in the room. They could be my possible kidnapper. But the strange pain coursing through my veins and forehead were too extreme for me to even think about. I heard distant footsteps, and then suddenly light flooded the room for a half second. I assumed it was the door being opened because, with a squeak, the light edged away and now I was sitting in pitch blackness again. I thought I had found my voice, but it was so hoarse I could honestly not form any words. I peered into the darkness, some of the nausea beginning to fade, luckily. The room was still dark, but my eyes had adjusted just the slightest. I could make out the bed I was laying on and the tile floor. That was when I realized this was nothing like a bedroom. It was more like a clinic room. There was a counter lining the back of the room where a sink and a stained-looking tabletop lay. It dawned on me, the realization. I was in a hospital.